Mock Draft Monday. Only 3 more days until the NFL Draft kicks off. Let's see where we're going today and who goes in the first round. And here we are. Pick number 1, the Tennessee Titans. We are hoping to have a 2-round mock draft here in the next day or two. We'll see how things go and see if we can get that out before we are going up to the draft this year in Green Bay. So I'm hoping to have a 2-round mock draft out. But today we're going to kind of fly through the first round here, see if anything has changed. A lot more rumors been hearing. So we are going to start it off with the Tennessee Titans. And of course, we are going to be going with quarterback Cam Ward. It'd be a shock to the world, I think, if anyone but Cam Ward goes in number 1 overall. Until we hear differently or see differently come Thursday night, it's going to be Cam Ward. Cleveland, pick number 2. All we've been hearing, Travis Hunter. I definitely could see them taking Abdul Carter. I think Carter and Myles Garrett would be a crazy pass rush, but they need help. Definitely a receiver. Jerry Jeudy, Cedric Tillman can also play a little bit corner. I think Hunter is one of the top athletes in this draft, so we're going to go right away Travis Hunter. And this is where the draft, I think, really kicks off. The New York Giants. A couple of options here. Abdul Carter. Do they go Shedeur Sanders? Do they trade down for a team that is wanting to come up and take Abdul Carter? He is the top prospect on the board. I believe teams, Carolina could trade up. The Saints, the Bears. Bears have a lot of ammo. Those 2 second-round draft picks. Could be a sneaky team up to number 3, but I think the Giants are in a win-now kind of state. Signing Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston at quarterback. They definitely have been looking a lot at Tyler Shuck. Could be a second, third-round pick. Sit a year behind Wilson and Winston. He's a little older. I believe he's 26 years old. I love Will Howard. My top quarterback prospect, Jackson Dart. Jalen Milroe would be interesting. And even Shedeur. But I think Shedeur is going to end up getting taken later, either in the first round or even on pick number 1, day 2 with the Browns again. So this is going to be Abdul Carter for me. We're not going to do trades. Trades are so hard to predict, but we'll talk about them. So again, Abdul Carter go number 3 overall. Number 4, the New England Patriots. This is interesting. They need help in the offensive line. They're going to keep Will Campbell out at tackle. Again, I think another couple of options. Ashton Jeanty, huge piece in that offense. They still got Stevenson. They need help at receiver. Brought in Diggs. Do you go with a guy like McMillan? Very possible. Even Tyler Warren at tight end would be an interesting fill at tight end. But I think you have to go and give Will Campbell a chance here. Give him a chance to tackle. I think a lot of people are comparing him to Tooney, who went to the Bears. We see what happened with him, playing tackle with the Chiefs. He's an all-pro guard. Went up to tackle, held his own. But again, a lot of plays, he's not a tackle. I think that's kind of where Will Campbell kind of falls in. But I think the Patriots are going to give him a try at tackle. He may have to bump into guard. We'll see. Number 5, Jacksonville. Everyone, 61% are going Mason Graham here. Not today. We are going someone completely different to revamp this offense. The question is it Jeanty, McMillan, tight end? They lost Evan Ingram. Do they bring in Tyler Warren? I think they're going to bring a weapon in. And today, we're going Ashton Jeanty in that offense. Etienne's on a last year of his contract. Bigsby's back there, but Jeanty just adds a whole nother dimension to that offense. And I think they can go, tight end later. defensive interior, safety, receiver later in this draft. So Jeanty is the pick, which throws a wrench into the next couple of picks. Vegas is like, great, what do? We wanted Jeanty. We got Mostert. We need to get more weapons for Geno Smith. Corner, I think, is another big pick here. It sucks. 57% we're going with Jeanty. He's gone. Do we go with McMillan? Do we bring in Mason Graham? Or even Armand Membu? This is tough. I think we are going to give Geno another weapon on that offense. Again, running back is a deep in this class. At pick 37, you can definitely come away with a top running back. Later on, I think Hampton's going to be gone, but Scadaboo, Sampson, Caleb Johnson, I love Travion Henderson. Judkins is really good. There is running back depth. So I think missing out on Jeanty, it sucks, but you can come back, pick up a running back later on. And we're going to give Geno Smith a weapon on offense and get Tetairoa McMillan. Which brings us to the New York Jets. And I've been stuck with Armand Membu here. Again, yeah, 38%. You need a right tackle. Warren could be. Mason Graham, again, I'm not as high on Mason Graham. And I think, tackle here, especially a right tackle, with what you need. We got a lot of left tackles. Banks could be a guard. Zabel could be a guard. Donovan Jackson and Connolly I both love. Ursery's a tackle. Lots of tackles, but a lot of left tackles too. Membu he's a right tackle. He comes in and fills an immediate need, and then later on, I think they can focus on some defense. We're going to Armand Membu. Carolina Panthers. Mason Graham sticks out big here. Jahdae Barron, I think, would be an excellent fit in this offense. A lot of pass rushers as well. Mike Green, I think Michael Williams, Shamar Stewart, James Pierce. This edge class is dominant. Can't forget about Jalen Walker. I think the Panthers have been high on him, and I think he goes high in this draft. He adds a different element to that defense. Gets a pass rush off the edge. Rolling Jalen Walker, linebacker. Brings us to the Saints. This is where I struggled. I really wanted to go defensive line here. Jeanty's off the board. A lot of drafts. So look at 35% with Sanders. I don't think they're going Sanders, especially at 9 overall. McMillan's gone. Walter Nolan, again, a defensive interior would be very interesting here. But I think, depending on if they draft a quarterback or Spencer Rattler, we want to get another element into this offense. This is where I have Tyler Warren going. Great run blocker. You move him all over the field, and he's going to get a lot of targets. It's just a great weapon, I think, to add into that Saints offense, which throws a big wrench into the Bears' plan. They would love to see Jeanty fall. Tyler Warren, I think, would be an amazing fit with Ben Johnson. Could, part ways with Cole Kmet if you want to, or keep him around. I really debated about taking a defensive tackle here, adding Grady Jarrett. They got Dexter. I really want to give them another element as a pass rush to help out this team. As an edge rusher, I love Mike Green, but I think Michael Williams is actually going to sneak into the top 15 of this draft somewhere. So much upside between him and Mike Green. I'm gonna go Michael Williams here. I love him as a prospect. I think Georgia had, with him and Walker, two huge pass rushers here. Yeah, I love that pick. The Chicago Bears. They can come back, take a running back. Second round, fill a safety to go offensive line, help out, just in case there's injuries. So I love that pick there. San Francisco 49ers, I think they're going to take Mason Graham here, and surprised that he fell this far. And we are going to go Mason Graham. I think another option there, Will Johnson, would be an excellent fit there. Big outside corner. They could add another pass rusher in to pair up with Bosa. They could also take an offensive lineman, Josh Simmons and Banks. You put Banks in next to Trent Williams. Trent Williams, Kelvin Banks. Williams leaves in a year. You can have Banks slide outside, but I think right now they're going to be taking Mason Graham, defensive tackle. The Cowboys. It's got to be a receiver. Cowboys could make a splash here. I think in trade up. They have to trade up pretty high to take Tyrell McMillan. If he starts falling, I could definitely see the Cowboys as a team that trade up with number 8, the Panthers, to get ahead of the Saints. Take McMillan, but he doesn't make it to them in this draft. To me, they gotta add some weapons here. I really debated about Amarian Hampton. I think he would be an excellent fit. But again, this running back class has talent later on. They got pick 44. And I think we really want to add in a receiver. And Matthew Golden here is my pick. Big target. Put him outside. CeeDee Lamb inside. We got Jake Ferguson. We'll draft a running back later on that can come in and play right away. And I think this offense is off to a great start with the Cowboys. And we'll see how they do for this year. So Teron Armstead with the Miami Dolphins retiring leaves a huge hole to fill at left tackle. This has to be tackle. I could see them. They're talking about trading Jalen Ramsey. Is there a fill here for corner? I think Walter Nolan could potentially be a big fit here. But again, you got to protect Tua. And I think this is where Kelvin Banks comes off the board. Josh Simmons still come off the injury. I think, Banks. I can also see Josh Connolly almost going ahead of Banks as well, because some people have Banks as a guard, where Connolly is definitely a left tackle. So Connolly could sneak up here and playing left tackle, but I'm going to go with Banks here. And that's going to be fill a huge need for the Miami Dolphins at left tackle to help out with Tua. Number 14, we got the Arizona. Nope. 14 is the Colts. Got to help out Anthony Richardson here. We're going Colson Loveland. It's 1A, 1B for tight ends with me. Tyler Warren. I love Colson Loveland as well. I think he's going to come in, be a lot like Trey McBride. Just a weapon. Move him anywhere. I don't want to put Brock Bowers out there, but I think Colson Loveland is going to be a huge impact in the NFL this year. I think he will actually have more production than Tyler Warren. But I love both of them, 1A, 1B. I'm really high on Colson Loveland watching his tape. He is an outstanding tight end there. So Colts, as much as I hate it, they get themselves a tight end. So the AFC South, Cam Ward, Jeanty, Colson Loveland. I mean, this AFC South is going to be different this year. A lot more offense. Atlanta Falcons, one of my favorite pass rushers here, coming off the board. Mike Green, phenomenal season. Stood out huge. He had 17 sacks. Big time at the Senior Bowl. He's going to be one. His name is going to come up a lot, I think, this next year. Making some impressive sacks, pressures on the quarterback. he is going to be a huge impact right away. So, 16, finally, the Arizona Cardinals. Defensive line definitely needs a lot of help. Walter Nolan's still here. Kenneth Grant, huge run stopper. I think they need edge rushers as well. Yeah, Walter Nolan. This is my guy right here, Will Johnson, who falls. And I think he is going to come in and have a huge impact with Budda Baker in that defense. We'll come back and get some defensive line later in the draft. But Will Johnson, I think he's going to have a huge impact. Fall into pick number 16. If he didn't get injured, he's a top 5 pick. He's going to Jacksonville. Top 5. But he got hurt. Coming back. Arizona with a huge steal, I think, at pick number 16. So, number 17, Cincinnati Bengals. Again, Walter Nolan would be huge here. Malachi Starks. Adding Jihad Campbell. Gray Zabel, also huge. Yeah, we got Walter Nolan, Campbell, Green is gone, Grant, Starks. Do I go with Walter Nolan? I really like Malachi Starks here to help out at safety. They do need... Originally, I had Malachi Starks in my mock draft. I think I'm going to change it up. We're going to give him Walter Nolan. I love that fit there with Henderson. Hopefully he comes back. Walter Nolan can be a huge pressure presence on the inside there. I think that's going to be huge. I like that. Seattle Seahawks, pick number 18. Center, guard, edge. Do we go? So we need a center, guard. See, I keep Zabel in here. This could be a Zabel pick here. Again, huge standout at the Senior Bowl. I think he's definitely going to be more of a guard. Can play some center, so I think that's where it's a great fit for Seattle. But Seattle never picks a guard, a center early on in the draft. And they need a better pass rush, which is why we are going to go with Shamar Stewart. Very low production this last season, 2 sacks. But if you watch his game film, he has the potential to be a huge standout. Same thing with Scorton. A lot of the A&M just didn't have a lot of production this last year. Yeah, 4 sacks. Not a lot of production there at A&M. Not for sure why that would be, but both big talents, and I think Shamar Stewart could be a huge impact with Seattle there. Getting the pass rush. Again, we'll fix interior offensive line later on. I think there's some definitely sleepers here. And Georgia, Ratledge, Wilson, Fairchild, Miles Frazier is really good. Get some centers in here. Love Jake Majors. Booker's ain't going to be gone by the time it gets back to them. I think Seattle does have some day 2 picks, so that's going to help them out a lot. But we are on to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let's see. I think Barron could be a pick here. Jihad Campbell. This is where Campbell, Donovan Azaraku. Those are my top 3 players right now. As fits. Scorton, potentially. Yeah, Campbell, Azaraku. I think Campbell. I like Jahdae Barron. I think he is more of a nickel corner, which is why he's gonna fall a little bit here. Yeah, we're gonna go Campbell. Give him that linebacker. Great fit there with Tampa. Denver Broncos. Do we do it? Do we go receiver? Or do we give him their running back? I think Luther Burden would be an excellent fit here. Like Buka, but it definitely like the Burden fit here in Denver at slot receiver. Pick 51. I really want to pull the trigger and take Amarion Hampton. I think that's probably the biggest. Yeah, look at this. 32%, 16%. Like Buka's, sneaking in there a little bit. They have 41% taking receiver and 36% taking running back. I just think it's going to be Amarion Hampton. Get your running back. That offense, Bo Nix. Come back and get a receiver later on. That's huge. The Pittsburgh Steelers. This is what pick to kind of keep an eye out for. Shedeur Sanders. The Steelers do not have a round 2 pick here. This could be Shedeur Sanders. I don't think the Steelers are going to go with Sanders. I think they're going to wait. I don't know what the Steelers are going to do. I would love to pick Sanders here. I just do not see him as like a first-round talent. And so it's hard for me to pick Shedeur Sanders here. But man, I mean, you don't have you have no day 2 picks. You're not picking until 83. You go into the season playing with Mason Rudolph? Are we waiting on Rodgers? They clearly know more. Is it a front to... Yeah, man. I just can't go Sanders here. We're going to go Malachi Starks. Putting him in that defense. The safeties there, outstanding. Him and Fitzpatrick. Him and Minka are going to be that defense's back. So I love that fit there. So, again, I could see Sanders going here at pick number 21. I can't do it. So, pick number 22, the Chargers. Again, this could be a receiver spot. I would love to see Egbuka go here. I think Kenneth Grant. Loveland's gone at tight end. I don't see another tight end going. A lot of people are high on Mason Taylor. Sneaking into the first round with the Eagles. That'd be interesting. Yeah, Colson Loveland, they would love. Yeah, Kenneth Grant. Egbuka, again, we've talked about. This is where it's going to be hard here. I think we got to get Justin Herbert. We got to give him a weapon. I mean, Lad McConkey is great. But we also got to help with that defensive line. We're going to go Kenneth Grant here. Bring him back home with Harbaugh from Michigan. Like that pick here. Green Bay. I love Jahdae Barron going here. But I think Green Bay plays a lot more man defense. Which is why I think we need a better pass rush. I could see Barron going here. A receiver, Egbuka. James Pierce, I think would be a huge pass rush here. Walter Nolan's gone. Egbuka. I don't like Burden going here. He's more of a slot receiver, in my opinion. Yeah, James Pierce. I would say definitely between Egbuka and Pierce here. I know a lot of people aren't going to have Barron sliding down this far. In this mock draft, he does. I think we're going to get some help with that pass rush. Going James Pierce. Again, Egbuka would be a great fit, I think. And so would Barron. Minnesota. This is a big trade down spot for Minnesota. Again, I could see this being one of those teams that need a quarterback. The Browns. Browns could trade up. They could take Sanders. New York Giants could be trading up, taking Sanders. The Saints are really high on Jackson Dart. I know the Giants are really high on Tyler Shuck. We got Jalen Milroe still out there. So the Vikings here, this spot could be a big trade down spot. Only have 4 picks this draft, which is crazy. So this is a huge trade down spot. I think they're going to try anything and everything to trade down and get out of this spot just to get some more capital. But we are not doing trades. And so in this mock draft, I think taking Jeanty Barron and helping out with that secondary is the pick. My Houston Texans have been all over the board. Biggest need, as everyone knows, offensive line. Picks that I would be okay with. I'm not as high on Josh Simmons with the injury concerns. There have been some off the field issues. He could be an option. Come in. He's not expected to start right away. We got Cam Robinson, Titus Howard, who can play left tackle. He's played right tackle. He's played guard. We got Blake Fisher out at right tackle, along with Trent Brown. Interior, I definitely could see this being a Tyler Booker spot. Donovan Jackson, again, he played guard until Simmons got hurt, and then went up to left tackle. Versatile, right? He can play left guard, left tackle. I think that would be a big pick. Josh Connolly, again, Zabel. I mean, I would be fine with any of these top 5 guys right here. But I also think with bringing in all those offensive linemen, we are going to get C.J. Stroud some help. Tank Dell's hurt. We lost Diggs. We brought in Christian Kirk. Is that enough to get the offense going? And this is where I think Ekbuka is going to come back and play with C.J. Stroud. Now we got Nico, Emeka Ekbuka, Christian Kirk. That offense is heading in the right direction. As long as the offensive line can block, again, we'll come back and we'll pick some offensive linemen up in the 2nd round, the 3rd round. We got some capital with the Tunzel pick, so I think that's going to help out with some later on depth. So I like that pick there, and in Ekbuka. I think everyone else has them going offensive line there. I think one pick is Kelvin Banks. If for whatever reason, if he starts to fall, I could see the Texans trading up and taking Banks. They're really high on him, but I don't see him falling. I can even see the Cowboys taking Banks, the 49ers, the Chicago Bears. I think this is Banks' range is 10 through 13 here. So I don't see him making it to 25, but hey, if he does, more power to the Texans. L.A. Rams. What do we got them doing here? Wouldn't mind seeing them take Burden. You know, we got some big receivers in Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua. This would be intriguing to see Luther Burden go here in that offense. Linebacker, also a need. I don't see one that's going to sneak up into the 1st round. Corner, I think this is definitely a big possibility here. Trey Amos, Benjamin Morrison, I think could have a ton of potential. Love Maxwell Hairston. Azariah Thomas could be one of those corners. But I also think getting offensive line to block, and I love, this is where Josh Simmons comes off the board to the LA Rams. The Baltimore Ravens, interior offensive line, edge, defensive back. A couple picks here. Again, we just talked about defensive backs. Kevin Winston at safety. I think he would be a great pairing with Kyle Hamilton. That AFC North, the safeties, Malachi Starks, Minkah Fitzpatrick, Hamilton, and Winston. That would be something to see in that secondary. But I think Tyler Booker here is a perfect fit. And we don't even have him going on here. They really think edge rusher. Ezeraku, 9%. Yeah, if Malachi Starks could fall, again, tearing the safeties up. Shamar Stewart potentially could be here. Nick Scorton. I really just think this is going to be that offensive guard spot. And Tyler Booker is just a powerhouse. Gives Lamar, Derrick Henry, something else to run behind. So I love that pick there. Receiver, the Detroit Lions, guard, edge. I think edge could be a very big pick here. Hutch has been recovering great. Again, Luther Burden, but we got Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams. Add another dimension. I really like Gray Zabel here. Give him that guard. Again, offensive line to me is so important with a lot of these positions. Again, I would not be mad if the Texans went offensive line. You have to protect the quarterback. I almost said Washington Redskins, but we are on the Commanders. This is, again, Luther Burden, a slot receiver. Debo's there. Could potentially be another spot here. I would love to see Travion Henderson go here in that backfield with Jaden Daniels. Scary Terry. That offense would just be electric. Even more electric than it already is. But we're going to go edge rusher here. They definitely need some help with pass rush. Corner could also be. But again, edge rush is one of the top premier positions you need in the NFL. And I love Nick Scorton here. To the Commanders. Buffalo Bills. Again, edge rusher. I don't think Ezeraku's a first-round talent. I think he's great. Just not a first-round talent. We're going to give him a corner here. Trey Amos. Kansas City Chiefs. You need left tackle help. I could see Donovan Jackson. Again, he can play guard. Ursery, I think, is going to be I think he's going to be a big steal. I would love to see the Texans taking him in the second round, third round, if he makes it to the third round. But yeah, second round, I would love to see the Texans taking Ursery, or maybe even trading back up and see if we can get Jackson. But I doubt he's going to be there. But yeah, Ursery, I think, would be a great left tackle for the Texans to take. So, but Josh Connolly comes in, fills an immediate need with the Kansas City Chiefs. And that brings us to the Philadelphia Eagles. Burden, again, a possibility with the Eagles. Devontae Smith there in the slot. Guard. I mean, this could be right here a Donovan Jackson spot. Edge rusher. They lost a lot of defense. Ezeraku. Corner. I think if you can get a big-time corner, put him outside. 6'1", 190 with Morrison. Harrison could be 6'1", 186. Savon Ravel, 6'3", 190. God, that's secondary. Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Savon Ravel. I really like putting Ravel here. A lot of these guys are gone. Winston also with losing Gardner Johnson to the Texans. That could be a huge piece. I think it's gonna be secondary here. I think they're gonna help out. Losing Darius Slay. We're gonna take Savon Ravel. And there we have it. First round mock draft. Again, I'm hoping to get a 2-round mock draft here put out in the next day or two before we head out for the draft up in Green Bay. But I really like how this one turned out. We're switching it up in those top 10 picks. Jaguars aren't going with Mason Graham. Jeanty doesn't fall to the Raiders. Mason Graham falls. Yeah, I love this. Awesome. Well, keep an eye out for that 2-round mock draft so we can continue on and seeing where Shedeur Sanders ends up. Where does Jackson Dart, Jalen Milroe, some of these other talents in the second round. There's a ton of day 2 talent. So pay attention to those picks. But yeah, leave a comment. Let me know what you thought. A like, a share, subscribe. We're going to be pushing out a lot more talent. We're going to be pushing out a lot more videos on the talent this year. Going to be watching a lot more spring ball. We're going to start looking at the 2026 prospects once the draft wraps up. We'll be watching a lot more video. I want to get more video content out. So go ahead, give us a subscribe. We're going to be giving a lot more content out so we can kind of keep track of players throughout the college season. Love to get a big board going. So any support would be amazing. So appreciate you guys watching. Again, like, comment, subscribe. Would mean the world. Appreciate all you guys. All right, King Redbeard out.